Those of you who use social media may know me better as Imajsaclaimant. Every day I share stories that show how rotten austerity in the welfare system is. It shows that every day there is something new that has been discovered that shows something wrong with the benefits system. Yesterday, for example, it was reported that 2 million calls to the Universal Credit Helpline had gone unanswered. Over 500,000 of those unanswered calls happened in the first 3 months of this year. We also learned that a lack of housing is pushing more disabled people into homelessness, with some ending up on the street, living in shop doorways or in tents, all the time vulnerable to attacks and arson. Last week we also learned how women felt pushed into survival sex because of benefit sanctions and universal credit and the benefit cap, and I'm sure other cuts. It was reported that some women are going out to make as little as £5 just so that they can eat properly or heat their homes. The stories we read each week should change this country, but they're hardly mentioned in the national media, and the longer it goes on, the more it feels like this cruelty is intentional. For 5 years now, I've been talking about my own experiences and sharing stories in an effort to bring this to a wider audience. I'm very well motivated, as I had a life-changing experience a few years ago. Now, I've been put forward for a benefit sanction 5 times. The first was when I was advised to go volunteering. I did a day for a housing association, only to be told by the job centre 2 weeks later that the skills needed to do the voluntary work too closely matched the skills I already possessed. So in their opinion, I should have been paid for that voluntary work. The second was when I was told to apply for a job in a neighbouring town. The job was 2 till 10:30 p.m, but the last bus home was 7:30 p.m. When I explained this to the work coach, she thought I was being unreasonable, and I was put forward for a sanction. But the sanction that really shaped me and damaged me was when I was asked to do a training course for self-employment. For 2 weeks, I travelled to Weston-super-Mare. It's a neighbouring town about 30 miles away from where I live in Taunton. I was leaving at 7:30 in the morning, and I was getting home sort of 7:15 at night, and I had to do homework on top of that as part of the course. That course went on for 2 weeks. The course was great. I had this grand plan that I could make and sell Welsh cakes at a farmer's market. I thought it was a great idea. But when I went to sign on, the new work coach said I should have done 35 hours of job search on top of the course, which I had been told I did not need to do by the previous work coach, and she referred me for a sanction. At that time, Taunton only had a food bank that was open for a couple of hours a week, and it was closed over Christmas. At this point, we're in December, so that was not an option for me. At the end of the first week, my electricity ran out, and the frozen food I'd saved for Christmas was spoiled. I had enough food to keep me going for most of the second week, but in the third, the only food I ate was from a fruit bowl in a job club that I was attending. During the third week, I started to get diarrhoea. This lasted for over 2 weeks and meant I could not go out. The week leading up to Christmas was terrible. I tried to keep myself going and to keep clean, but it was very difficult. I ran out of toilet roll and was forced to use whatever was available. I got an eye and ear infection and just felt very ill. Christmas Day was the worst day of my life. And the day I think I had a breakdown. I could see happy families walking past my window while I was just sat there, desperate for it to get dark, waiting so that I could go to try and get dark so I could go to bed and try and sleep. It wasn't until the following Saturday, when my aunt sent me £20 for Christmas, that I was able to buy electric and some food. But my misery did not end there. In the new year, when I met with the work coach, she told me that the sanction showed her that I did not have a work ethic. And so she was going to put me on workfare, 40 hours a week working for my benefit. I can't remember what she said after that, as I was in a daze. After the appointment, I went straight home. I emptied the bathroom cabinet of every pill and tried to take my own life. My neighbour found me and I ended up in hospital. For the next couple of months, I was seen regularly by the local mental health team. My doctor did what he could to help and gave me antidepressant medication. I was put forward for counselling. That took 8 months to come through. I'm still seeing a counsellor today. I now struggle with agoraphobia and I have put on a lot of weight, about 6 stone. The counselling I'm currently getting is for binge eating. I also get a lot of physical health problems associated with my size and lack of fitness. So 5 years after I went through this benefit-sanctioned trauma, I'm still being treated for it. I think I'm like many people in that growing up I was taught to believe in this country and its foundations, justice, freedom, fairness. And I thought we were going in the right direction in terms of equality, but the last decade has seen a detrimental change, which has led me to question, the foundations of democracy. The stories I read about disabled people have sometimes brought me to tears. The treatment of women, especially single mothers, is simply appalling. And if you're BME and poor, then life can be really unbearable. Men also suffer. They have been sanctioned more than any other group, and they're more likely to be rough sleepers. The safety net we once had is quickly being taken away, but for much of the time I have felt impotent to change the direction this country is heading in, and that's before we even start talking about Brexit. I can tweet my frustration, I can moan about what is wrong, but it largely falls on deaf ears. So this is why I fully endorse this new project today, to create a white paper. It allows us to do more than just moan at what is wrong. It gives us the opportunity to provide solutions. At a conference last year with Unite Community and DWP staff in the South West, we heard how training for the job centre staff had been cut down dramatically. I think it had been cut down from 10 weeks to 4 weeks. We also heard that the staff coming in lacked the qualifications to do the job properly, and that they were not paid very much. We were also told that job cuts had meant a big loss of experienced staff. At the same time, DWP is being engulfed by managerialism, which is reducing human beings to numbers on a spreadsheet. We have been told that the staff are incentivised to meet targets, including sanctioning claimants. All of this needs to stop. When I go into a job centre, I start to physically shake. People also tell me that they are scared to go into these places because of the treatment they have received before. More and more I'm hearing from people saying that they are unwilling to claim benefits because of this issue. I mean, that is simply wrong. I'm coming to the end now. Job centres ought to be a valued community hubs, but at the moment they're a blight on the local landscape. We need to reverse the decision many years ago to combine the benefit system with looking for jobs. People who lose their jobs need to be supported and treated with respect, not treated with disdain and contempt, as happens so often now. We need an end to the sanctions and the conditionality regime. We also need to end the cruelty of assessments for the sick and disabled. There's so much more I could say on this, but I've only got 10 minutes. I also think we need to split up the DWP and create new ministries, and people like Neil Calling need to be put out to pasture. I could say a few things about IDS and Estimate Bay, but I'm recording this on video. And just to end, I'd like to say thank you for my invitation, for allowing me to speak. I probably should have said that at the beginning. Unite Community is keen to support this initiative, and we hope you will support us when we hold a day of action against universal credit on August the 1st. We're doing it on August the 1st this year because we want to highlight the holiday hunger. Last year, some of you may have read in your paper some of the absolutely terrible stories of children going without and mothers going without. And we just think that's wrong and we need to highlight it. So that's the end. So thank you very much for listening to me.